Let's set up our own workspace to mindfully practice Sumi-e ink work. I have a messy mat, a paper, an inkwell down on my right-hand side with the hill towards me and the little pond away from me. My ink stick is in front of the pond, and I have my empty boxes as well on my mat. I can control everything on my mat, and that way it keeps it separate from anyone else's things. My brush is there, and my table will share some water. You squeeze the little dropper, place it in the water, and then let go of the bulb, lift it over to your inkwell, and squeeze a little coin-sized amount. You can aim your paper any way you want, but we are going to begin holding our ink stick and grinding it on the stone, on the hill of our inkstone. That's the raised part. You will hear the scraping, and when you think you have made some light colored ink, you are ready to begin your painting. I'm going to lay my ink stick nearby and keep everything organized and nice for myself. You can always get your brush a little bit moist before beginning, but don't put any ink in the water. So now I'm going to pick up some light gray ink. I can even test it on a paper towel. Think far away means very light. You can whisper, in the distance is light gray. That's because there's usually some clouds or particles in the atmosphere that make things far away seem light to our eyes. I am using the shape of my brush to do far away misty mountains. Notice my brush just taps the paper. I'm going to kind of spread out any dark parts. And I'm going to create light mountains far away. Fast forward, and now I want to create some darker ink. So I will be just adding a little bit more water. We never want to use too much. And doing a lot more grinding to create a medium ink for the middle ground. You should hear some scraping as you grind ink into your hill. And now it's time for more mountains in the mist. I will create, using the same kind of brush strokes, some medium dark mountains. They're still kind of far away, but they're getting a little bit closer, so they're darker. Just use the shape of your brush and your own jiggly hand motions that we naturally have to create a medium-sized, medium dark mountain. It's a little bit further down on the paper. I'm also going to leave a little place to have a waterfall on this one. And I'm going to make sure that the bottom is misty as well. Maybe these are trees or crags in the rock. And now I'm going to use my hand to make my brush a little bit pointier so I can do incredibly thin, scratchy streaks for the waterfall. You can have more than one waterfall if you like. You can draw how the water splashes or creates ripples underneath. And fast forward to making the darkest ink I can make. More scraping and scratching on the stone. And now I can use my fingers to change my brush tool into something that can make close by grasses. Easy, simple strokes making grassy marks. I just spread my bristles apart, and now they're doing exactly what I want them to. And now the star of my painting, a very close and very complicated tree. Trees and plants are fun with a brush because we can make thick parts and thinner parts depending on how hard we press on our brush. And the natural shakiness in our hands makes the tree look like a real shape. I've done a simple little banana shape for a boat and some little heads and bodies for the people. And then I'm going to continue to add grasses, plants, stones. And then I'm going to continue on my tree and let it grow and branch off of itself, thinner and thinner and thinner. And this video is sped up, so think about how slowly you can work with your brush, just kind of meditating and watching the ink take shape on your paper. And fast forward, I think I have enough branches now. I'm going to use the shape of my brush to do many leaves. I'm letting all of my leaves kind of lay in this flat position. You can do your leaves in multiple directions. You can make them bigger than this. But one tree will have the same kind of leaf on the whole tree. So whatever you decide to do, you should repeat that same thing over and over until your tree has a beautiful set of leaves. You might also have a tree that is in the winter and then it won't have any leaves. You might have kind of an evergreen tree and have little needles instead of leaves. There's lots of different kinds of trees in our world and in Asia. And now I'm going to thoughtfully clean up. First, take care of your art. Take it to the drying rack. Next, gently, very gently, pat your ink stick dry and put it back into its box. And last, gently pat your stone. Let the paper towel absorb the ink and place it in its box. Carry it firmly with 2 hands. Then it is time to cleanse your bamboo brush in some cool, clear water. Rub the handle, gently swish the bristles, and squeeze the extra water out gently. Pat it dry like a baby that just had a bath and say, "Thank you, brush." Dry the handle, gently dry the bristles, and then form the bristles into a point